Hello, my name is Ash, a counselor in training. This is my Relatable study podcast for individuals who need help studying for their NCE, CPCE, and other related counseling exams. I'm going to go through many questions from multiple resources and make the answers relatable to both you and me. So get your listening ears on and let's get studying. A counselor instructs her client to read A Guide to Relational Living by Albert Ellis and Robert Harper. This is an example of A. Bibliotherapy, B. Countertransference, C. Masturbation, D. Concretedness. The answer is A. This is an example of bibliotherapy. An example of bibliotherapy can sometimes be referred to as prescribing books that helps a client or a patient read a book that the counselor believes that will help them. In this case, the counselor tells the client, I think A Guide to Relational Living by Albert Ellis and Robert Harper could benefit you in X, Y, and Z reasons. Could you read this and then bring it back? That is an example of bibliotherapy. What is the basic assumption of cognitive consistency theory? The basic assumption of cognitive consistency theory is that individuals will need to organize their perceptions in a way that are consistent and are comfortable. Beliefs and attitudes are not randomly distributed, but they reflect an underlying coherent system within the individual, and it governs the conscious processes, and it maintains internal and psychosocial consistencies. There are many examples of basic assumptions of cognitive consistency theory, such as identity conflict, addiction versus recovery, social conflict, reality conflict, family versus crime, and leadership dissonance. Those are just a couple of examples. Shoulds and oughts are blank according to Ellis. A. Masturbations. B. Masturbations. C. Awfulizations. D. Rationale. The answer is A. Shoulds and oughts are masturbations. According to Ellis, masturbations is the experience of telling oneself we must do things, we should do things, we have to do things, we ought to do things. And according to Albert Ellis, it often refers to as demanding the self or others or the world that they should, ought, and must do things to create a high standard. What does the balance theory say about processes? According to the balance theory, processes are the balance when they are consistent with the individual's perceptions and beliefs. Inconsistency can cause an imbalance with stress and tension, and will often lead to changes in judgments or perceptions, which restore the consistency and balance. A client says, I lost my job and it's the most terrible thing in the world. This client is engaging in A. Rational self-talk, B. Self-induced empathy, C. Cognitive restructuring, D. Awfulizing and terribilizing, also known as catastrophizing. The answer is D. This client is engaging in awfulizing and terribilizing, also known as catastrophizing. He is making his job loss bigger than what it seems and is bringing catastrophizing thoughts into making this thought more terrible than it actually is. Catastrophizing is a cognitive distortion which individuals will jump to the worst possible conclusion with usually very limited information or being objective about what is going on. Counselors can help this individual or others who participate in catastrophizing in reframing their thoughts and challenging the catastrophic thinking. That is all 5 questions. Thank you for listening. Keep calm and study on.